broadcasting live. Once again, my friends, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is the very first broadcast of Conversation Starters Live. My name is Robert Antoine, and this is the lovely
Constance Carter. Nobody works harder.
and we want to let you know that for every situation, there is always
a conversation.
That's right. Well, listen, y'all, it's Friday and it's 5 o'clock somewhere, y'all, but we are getting ready to have a very special guest, one of the pioneers in our day and in our era. And I can't wait to talk to him.
I'm excited.
I'm absolutely excited as well. So make sure that you share this out. Tell a friend. They need to come on in and watch the Conversation Starters because Rob and Constance are about to get it started.
About to get busy.
All right, all right. So let's do this real quick. I want to introduce to some of you guys and present to others one of the social justice drum majors of our time.
All right.
He is a preacher for real, that can show enough preach the word of God. And he's one of the coolest cats that I've ever met in my entire life.
You met him?
Talk about that one time. just one time at the airport. He won't remember that much. But anyway, I can say I met this gentleman a long time ago, and I've watched him from afar and up close.
Yeah.
And he is certainly one of the premier preachers in the body of the church right now. So without any further ado, let's bring on the pastor, the bishop from New Birth, Pastor Jamal Bryant. Doctor, are you there?
Man, thank you. You make me feel like a rock star. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to have fun today, and we just want to kind of talk to you about your journey. Some people know you, a lot of people know you, a lot of people don't know you. And so, just tell us who you are and where you've been and, your life and, a little bit about your journey.
Oh, Lord, how much time we got?
A little bit of time. We got as much time as you want, brother.
Yeah, my life is a Lifetime original movie, but
oh, Lord.
Yeah, I'm originally from Cambridge, Massachusetts. I was raised in Baltimore, Maryland. I failed the 11th grade, and after I failed the 11th grade, my parents sent me to Liberia, West Africa, to be a missionary for a year so I could get myself together.
Wow.
Came back to the States and took a GED. And when I took my GED, I'm the first person in the school's history to go to Morehouse with a GED. Graduated from Morehouse, then went to Duke University. And that's significant for me because for years, my grandfather was the head cook at Duke University. So to go to Duke in that backdrop was humbling. I left Duke and I became the National Youth and College Director of the NAACP, over some 40,000 young people. I did that for 4.5 years. I started a church in Baltimore in 2000 with 43 people, and that 43 went to 12,000. And then 16 months ago, I relocated to Atlanta and became the pastor of New Birth. That's the drive-by shooting version of my life.
Ooh. Now, how many members do you have in New Birth?
Pre-quarantine or post-quarantine?
Pre-quarantine.
Pre-quarantine
members. I know that's right.
Yeah, I think we had about 10,000 right now. I'm just prayerful for whatever remains.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that's right. So Pastor, as I look at you right now on the screen, you have never been shy to walk into the wardrobe and step out looking like $1 million. So I need to ask you right now, can I borrow that shirt next Sunday when we are able to go back to church, my brother? You are looking like a superstar, sir.
You are kind. I just don't know whether your church is going to appreciate you coming in with a New Birth shirt on, but I will gladly give it to you. I will give it to you in every color we got. You will be our
represent.
Ever. You did text me your address. You will have them by Monday.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking
about.
All
publicity is good publicity, right?
Yes, sir. Well, listen, I have been a part of the church walk for a while, and I remember being in the ATL before with your predecessor, and I know that it was really, really hard to get in. I mean, it was like like going into the Walmart these days. You got to stand outside and wait forever to get in there. Do you still have lines to get in there to the church?
No, sir. We got lines to get online. We, we've been closed since March the 8th. This is our 8th week out of the sanctuary. Contrary to the governor's order, we're not going in. Our church is way too huge and it's too much of a risk. The way that COVID-19 is impacting the African American community, I think it would just be reckless and irresponsible for us to go back into church. And so we're going to continue streaming as we've had done these last 8 weeks. For those of you who are viewing and you'd like to see what our worship experience is like, check us out Sundays at 9:30 at newbirth.org. However, at the end of the month, we're going to try something novel that I'm excited about. We have one of the largest parking lots in the state of Georgia. Our parking lot holds some 3,000 cars. And so on May 31st, we're going to do parking lot worship.
Come on.
Jumbotron screens from Orlando, Florida. We putting speakers all around our campus.
Yes.
Putting in a FM transmitter so you'll be able to hear it in your car. Asking everybody to stay in. But for your listeners, if they want to come hang out with us that day, you have to register. There's no charge, but you have to register so that we can have a good handle on how many people are coming. And again, you can do it on our website, newbirth.org.
Let me ask you a question. So you go from your church. How many members do you build your church up to?
It's about 10,000.
The church that you started was 10,000 members?
Was at 43 to 10,000.
10,000, and now at New Birth you have also 10,000 members?
Yes.
Okay, so what was the process like for you, going, I don't want to say trying out or auditioning, but they obviously had a lot of pastors that, profound, prolific pastors as yourself. What was that process like for you?
They had 143 pastors apply.
Lord have mercy.
For the position, and it was a grueling, daunting process. I'm a member Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and this was the closest thing to pledging I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my
God! It was a lot of interviews and background checks and references, and you had to get letters, and they sent spies into my church to come see what.
Oh my gosh!
We had
Absolutely.
to preach at their church, come do a Bible study. It was a full-on. I could have got on the Falcons easier than getting in the.
How long was the process? How long was the process?
About 6 months.
Wow. And how exhilarating was it when you got selected?
Unbelievable. I'm AME. I'm a third generation AME.
Yeah, right.
So to come to a missionary Baptist church, it was exhilarating and unnerving. I ain't never had deacons a day in my life. AMEs, we sprinkle on your head. So to go get in that pool, all of this has been a dizzying experience, but it's been absolutely great.
Good for you. Good for you.
I love it, Doc. I mean, just the process. I mean, from you going from Baltimore all the way to ATL, I mean, those are certainly some huge metropolitan areas, especially for African Americans. So has there been a bit of an adjustment? Because I know with leaving home, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to
let me show you. Yeah, let me show you again the hand of God and how it works. It's coming back home because remember, I went to Morehouse.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
I know the city. My parents were missionaries, as I stated. And when I tell this story, nobody can believe it. Bishop Long paid for my college education.
Wow.
Yeah, so for me to come back and to fulfill the mantle of somebody, that's why you have to be very careful how you treat people. Is I am fulfilling the vision of somebody who didn't know they were training their successor.
Come on, somebody.
I'd never been under Bishop Long, never a member of New Birth, but he was investing in his own future by investing in me. And so that is just humbling to see how God will circumnavigate the circumstances of your life to get there. That's why I am a key proponent of always paying it forward. And so
Yes, sir.
It was destiny.
I love it. Constance, and here's the thing that I will say about you, Pastor, that you have been at the forefront of crucial social issues that have happened not only in Baltimore with Black Lives Matter, and now here you are smack dab in ATL, and here another uh, young man was senselessly killed for doing nothing but being black. And
yes.
I know that our first thing is to light up talk radio and to get some picket lines going. But I called you a social drum major for justice in our day. Martin certainly had the civil rights movement, and then there was also Malcolm who came with the nation. But we all still have a responsibility, as you said, to pay it forward. So here we are in the middle of this pandemic, and then this tragedy leaks into mainstream media. What is your position, and what would you instruct our viewers to do? How can we be a part of this movement, this cause? How do we all get together and reform what is currently happening now?
What is happening, Rob, is that America is having its mask removed. The injustice against Black and brown communities is being exposed because of COVID-19. We should just be running from the coronavirus, not from corrupt justice system. And so we are seeing every area of Black life be exposed in America, from the digital divide to food insecurity to economic disparity. All of it is coming to full balance, and it is happening in an election cycle. And
Yeah,
it is happening while we should be filling out our census reports. And it is happening when we realize our employers don't see us as essential. So there's a whole lot of work that we have to do in the community to really put a jump start on entrepreneurship, what it means to really become a part of the democratic process and letting our voices heard. What we have learned in these 8 weeks about discretionary spending, whole lot of Black folk realize how much money they save from being home.
yeah,
A whole lot of people got forced to wear their hair natural over these 8 weeks. A whole lot of people had to put clear fingernail polish on.
It's been a struggle. Listen. I'm gonna keep it real. It's been a real struggle, Pastor.
Yes. Yeah, no, for all of us, but you are really putting into full focus what's needed and necessary, the things that we really think about. How much money you have not spent on dry.
Right.
How many times you were going to the mall broke? You weren't going. It's amazing that that's where we go to hang out.
Right.
yeah.
To spend.
Yeah.
And we have never, as a community, mastered mindfulness or meditation that we now see. And here's the catch: being at home is a punishment.
Mm,
The house is the greatest place of your investment, and you don't want to be there. You know
yeah.
how many people are upset because you are stuck with the people you claim you love?
Right.
Everything has got to be reevaluated while we're in this quarantine.
And we talk about it all. We've talked previous to pre-COVID. We talked about how we want to spend more time with our families, all the things that everybody has prayed about. Now we're here. Now we're still not satisfied. And that says a lot about human nature. That says a lot about just Americanism. That says a lot about privilege, Don't you
Because
think?
we are a part of a generation that doesn't understand the depth of relationship, that we don't know the art of conversation. So the three of us, I don't know you all intimately well, but we're all in the same generation, that we knew how to talk to people.
Right.
My children talk to me through text
Right.
and emojis and abbreviations.
WYD.
Yeah, and so the art of conversation is lost. I've got to do a Zoom tonight on how to date in the quarantine because people have not been having conversation with their pursuers. They've just been sleeping with them. And so
Okay.
now you are forced to really figure out who is this Negro?
Yeah.
What is their middle name?
Who is this
Where
Negro?
are they from? You know, what do they like?
Who they like? Yeah.
Yeah. So all of that is coming to bear. So this is this is what I want to call a cod liver oil experience. It's nasty, it don't taste good, but it's
Good for you.
healthy for
Yeah.
what it is that we need in order for us to move forward.
You know, going back to the question you asked about the gentleman who was jogging, and we talked about racism. One of the things, and it bothers me so deeply in my soul that it's hard for me to, it's very hard to watch at this point because we see it so much, and it's not being desensitized to it, it's being very sensitive to it. But one of the things that I know is we are very reactive, we're not proactive. We react after the fact. We get mad for, we get pissed off a little bit. Then we go back to our everyday lives. Yeah. So what should we be doing differently to take a stand? And I'm not saying, because I see like T.I. give the people, the guy give his address, like, y'all out here banging, your business over there. You quick to kill each other. But what should we be doing? Like, how should we be responding, or what should we do differently? Because I'm tired of seeing this, and I'm tired of being angry temporarily. Like,
we all have social ADD.
Yeah.
We have it for the moment. Do you not know 85% of New Year's resolutions are broken before Dr. King's birthday?
Yeah. 85%?
That's 2 weeks in.
85%.
In 2 weeks.
That's 2 weeks in.
Every Lenten season.
Ridiculous.
I ask my children, what are y'all going to give up for Lent? So my girls, I'm going to give up orange juice. I'm going to give up soda. I'm going to give up sweets. 3 days later, I see them sitting at the kitchen counter drinking orange juice. Hey, I thought you gave this up. Oh, I'm going to try apple juice this week. No. And so we have to have that stick-to-itiveness. So somehow or another, we have made injustice faddish. So all last weekend was run with a mod. And so the question is, where are we running to? After those 2.3 miles, we're still in the same situation, the same circumstance. And so we have to think on what is the next step. The Bible says, be ye angry, but sin not. So we don't find a place to redirect that anger, but nobody is doing an autopsy on our dysfunction. Why is it that we have a disproportionate number of hypertension? Why is it that Black people can't sleep 8 hours a night? Why is it that we eat out of boredom? All of those things are connected to our stress, and that we're looking for some level of outlet because it becomes so toxic that it's hard for us to be able to navigate and find some level of balance and normalcy.
Do you believe it has to do with post-traumatic slave syndrome? You ever heard of that?
Dr. Joy Jury, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ever published that we inherit a trauma that we're not used to. And so here's what's amazing to America. Let's look at it. 85,000 people have died of COVID-19, which means, Constance, more people in the last 8 weeks have died of COVID-19 than died in Vietnam, than died in Pearl Harbor, than died at 9/11. And we don't see that this is a national tragedy. And 88,000 people, and the flag still ain't at half mast. But you got Black people going to the mall, going to get their nails done, going to the barbecue pit, going to the massage parlor, because we have somehow learned how to suppress the trauma and not embrace it as a reality. How in the world is America open this weekend while the deaths are still spiking?
Pastor, you have stepped on some toes with that statement, and many have called you the hip hop preacher, right?
Yes.
And I know for sure in our generation, we came up around the same time as some of our heroes and icons musically we looked up to. Constance and I were talking not too long ago about P. Diddy. He made a statement that became controversial. And in fact, there's some merit of truth to it, because generally African Americans are Democratic voting folks. And he said that we need to make whomever our chosen candidate is be accountable for the vote that we're going to give, because we vote blindly, not asking for the things that truly affect us. And do you have a position on that?
Yeah, no, I agree with him that a whole lot of us have become blind people with a walking stick. Is that we going into circumstances blind. So let's look at what happened with the stimulus check. Is that you had 30 million black people got stimulus checks, and watch the next story. Black businesses are closing. So what that means is that we got our money, but we didn't spend it with our people. So we keep walking into places blind. The fact that, do you all understand how much gentrification is going to happen when this is over? Because people are going to lose their homes. Over 33 million people are unemployed. Soon as the smoke clears, them eviction notices are coming.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do? Somehow or another, look at, none of us know any updates as to what's taking place in Puerto Rico. We're not even paying attention to
I haven't even thought, yeah.
islands still don't have electricity.
Wow.
Yeah. If Constance, I called you when we got off the show and said, hey, Constance, thank you for that interview. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. Member of my church, works for Delta. I'm going to give both of you all 2 plane tickets to go on vacation. Do you know nowhere in the world can y'all vacation?
Yeah.
Nowhere. So we walking in blind, and here's what we're forgetting. It's a global pandemic. You see on memes, oh, your real friends have checked on you during this crisis. No, your real friends are in a crisis too.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't have time to check on you. I'm trying to pull myself together. All of us at 11 o'clock got to ask ourselves, did I shower today? What day of the week is this? You know what I mean? So all of us are in a perpetual Groundhog's Day of trying to figure out what's taking place.
So what should we be doing? So because it is true, I think that right now, I think it should be incubation season. And I've talked about this and I've talked about this. We should be going back in our caves and learning and doing, because the way we come out of this is going to be much different than the way we came into this. I wrote an ebook, because Ecclesiastes 11:2 says that we should have multiple revenue streams, 7 or 8.
Come on,
Yes.
Yes.
If a disaster strikes the land, right? So we are in a disaster. And I believe in multiple revenue. I live my life with multiple revenue streams. That's how I've been able to do what I've done.
Mike said poverty is the mismanagement of time.
Come on.
Poverty is the mismanagement of time. So you got to ask yourself, Constance, how many series am I going to watch on Netflix? How many snacks am I going to eat? So in this time, you have no excuse not to write your book. You got no excuse to write your family 10-year plan. You got no excuse.
No excuse. You ain't got no time on hand.
Free courses. You got no excuse. Why you?
It's Friday. You ain't got no job. You ain't got nothing to do.
This is available, and nobody's taking advantage of it. So there's going to be a whole lot of millionaires who are birthed out of this crisis. And the people who are watching got to make up in your mind, I am going to be one of them. Figure out what is the need and what it is that I bring to the table to answer that need.
So we have a question, and we want everybody, we have a lot of people online. Please make sure you are sharing this. And you have an up and personal opportunity to ask Dr. Jamal, Dr. Pastor, Reverend Bishop.
Come on, prophesy.
Come on.
Yeah.
Questions. So we got a couple of questions. Somebody asked, how should the churches be responding at this time of crisis? What do you think?
Here is my point of reference is we can't do corporate worship but we can do community service. And so the call of the church is not what you do just on Sundays, but Monday through Saturday. And so all of these kids are out. Who is helping them to get ready for next school year? You look at these Black businesses. Every church got a web page. Why won't you promote your members' business on your page? Send out an e-class and say, while y'all are at home, just don't buy DVDs of the worship service. Buy Constance's book. Yeah, that will take nothing away from the church. Our church, New Birth, is the largest landowner of any Black church in America. So, Robert, what I did was I started a community garden. There's no reason for me to just talk about food insecurity, and I'm not planting fresh vegetation right in our community. And so every pastor is not going to march. Every pastor is not going to picket. Every pastor is not going to call out Governor Kemp, but every pastor can pick an issue and address that. So I don't know, for every individual church, it's not all the same thing, but every church ought to be doing something.
Well, here's where I started thinking my own mind, Pastor. You know how when you have one of your boys out there just out of pocket, just reckless, and you make a phone call. Yeah. Let me holler at you for a second. With your position and your status, is there anything in you or in the body of the church that will reach out to Kemp and say, "Hey, listen, can we have a dialogue about this? What you're doing is reckless. You're in
But
danger."
here's the issue: is that Kemp had a COVID-19 task force, and on that COVID-19 task force, he had Bernice King and Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms on the task force, the only two Blacks on it, and he didn't talk to either of them before he opened up the state, which is disrespectful in the highest order. I'm a new kid on the block, just being here 16 months. And so even when I called them out, I didn't ask for a meeting with me. I told them to meet with the sisters who were on the task force. So we got to be in a place where we learn how to lead from the back, that we don't always have to be up front, don't always have to be seen, always have to have the microphone, but let's support the people who have the access and the influence.
That's an issue, within, church. Is a lot of people are much more concerned with title than they are with purpose or service. And so then that's where you have a lot of lack in the community, because we so worried about being an apostle or being, having these titles rather than actually being out there doing the work.
The Bible says that he will make your name great. It doesn't say he will give you a great title. And so many people have a great title with a bad name. What you have to really pray for is that God will so shield your name, that your name will in fact go in rooms. So if I say to you all today, Rockefeller, you know the name. You don't know the title. If you know Rothschilds, you know the name, but you don't know the title. What title do we give to Oprah? She don't have no title. She has an influential name. And so we got to make sure that we safeguard our name.
Come on.
In public space.
Somebody asked, what about Flint?
What? Say it again.
Somebody said, what about Flint, Michigan?
Flint, Michigan.
Yeah. Where are you at on Flint?
Yeah, I brought 100,000 bottles to Flint, Michigan. I took Ricky Smiley there and Russell Simmons at the peak of it. And I really believe that this is a governmental issue, that the government needs to interject, and it shows us again glaringly the racism of America. What do you think? What do you think would be the response if there was no clean water in Sandy Springs? Do you know how fast they would
be an uproar?
Huh?
It would be an uproar.
Yes. That's the same point, Constance. America laxed its position on COVID when they figured out it was Negroes and Latinos dying.
Yes.
When it was Caucasians, then we was in a 5-alarm fire.
State of emergency.
Yeah. Now it's like, oh, you ain't got to wear no mask if you don't want
to. Hey, let's go back to work. let's open up the strip clubs and the bars and the barbershops, right?
The practicing of medicinal apartheid.
Yeah.
Is that we're dying because of pre-existing conditions, because most Black people never get health care until we go to the emergency room. And so that's why we've got to fortify our base. The Bible says that people die from a lack of knowledge. And what we don't know is what's killing us. Knowledge is power is not cliche. It is really a commandment.
But you think about this, this is American history. This is how things have been done. You look at systems, and Black in the school systems, it's racist, right? Because if you have these Black and brown schools where you have lack of funding, where you have, don't you think if the same type of funding was happening in other neighborhoods, don't you think they would distribute the funds a little bit differently? And that's where all of it.
There is no debate. Last Sunday, we did COVID-19 testing, mobile testing at our church. Almost 2,000 people. This is 8 weeks into a pandemic, and we hosted the largest testing in the state of Georgia, which is reflective that our people are not getting access. Now, we couldn't get access to testing. Watch how fast they get us access to vaccines. So I just did a show 3 weeks ago in Nigeria. In Nigeria, they are forcing every citizen to get the vaccine. And here's the catch, Constance, there are no high numbers there. They always use Black people as
Africans.
the test tube baby. We always gonna be the guinea pigs. And at some point, we gotta put our foot down.
Well, there's a book called Medical Apartheid by Harriet, oh God, I can't remember her last name, but she talks about
your stock has gone up with me. You done quoted 2 books today that's on the top 100. Constance, I'm bowing down at your feet. You a smart sister. Go, Constance.
I really believe it's important, but this is what they've been doing in the history of this country since the very beginning to Black people. This is what we know to be true for sure. And it hasn't stopped. It's not just the Tuskegee experiments. This has been ongoing since the beginning of this country, and it's still going on today.
Constance, I'm giving you a high five. Thank you. You're a beautiful man. Thank you.
Absolutely. I love it. And I was thinking to myself, hashtag Tuskegee. And the thing about it is there's so many things that we put out into the atmosphere with conspiracy theory, but we don't have the real knowledge about are these COVID numbers real that are reported, right? We don't know the COVID numbers of who's recovered. So how do we get access to that kind of information? Because all we have are news outlets that kind of feed us the information. We never know what is and what isn't real.
Regrettably, I don't know. And perhaps maybe Morehouse School of Medicine would be able to have access to that information, or Heir Medical School. I don't have it, but as soon as you get it, share it with me.
What do you think about this though? Because this whole pandemic has become so political. When I turn on CNN, it's about what Trump ain't doing. It leans to the left. You turn on Fox News, and it's not that big of a deal. And it's just it's all based on political lines. Now we know that this is a very real pandemic, but I want to know what's the truth.
It started political and ended economic. And so now the positions and the decisions of those who are in authority are making are not along party lines, but along economic and class lines. So what everybody is arguing, from Fox to MSNBC to CNN, is we've got to re-engage the economy. So they have put economy over humanity. And so the lead integer is, you can't let Neiman Marcus file bankruptcy. You can't let J. Crew file bankruptcy. Look at the negritude of Cheesecake Factory saying we ain't gonna pay rent. Huh?
Right.
Wow.
They done stole our land. Cheesecake Factory said
the negritude
not paying rent until the malls open back up.
I need to know
So
what the nigritude is.
it has at its core become an economic issue. And so economics has always been the compass for America in all of its decisions. Everything that they're doing, when you look at that medication that Trump was pushing 4 weeks ago, only for us to discover he got stocks in the company. For us to get out that we listening to Bill Gates for medical advice, and he's got no medicinal experience, history, or training, only because he's been investing in the vaccine companies. Everything is pointing back to economics. This is not red, white, and blue. It's all green.
Well, the America, capitalism, and that's you have to have that hierarchy. Unfortunately, the rich are so greedy that they don't even make room for the poor middle class. They just will do anything by any means necessary. I really don't believe that these people who have all this money, who are running the world, who these Republicans, I really don't believe they like Trump. I believe
13 Democratic candidates running for president. 13. We had 4 or maybe 5 debates. All of them were about securing the middle class. Nobody has rolled out an agenda for the poor. Dr. King, when he was killed forming the Poor People's Campaign because he said the next progressive step after civil rights is civil rights. Is that we've got to have something about economic development and economic growth. And we've got to start recalibrating the conversation about the economy of African Americans. Dr. Benjamin Mays, former President Morehouse, said, we've got to run faster or we'll forever be left behind.
But do you think this is, they said the Roman Empire will never fail. They said the United States will never fail. Do you think this is the beginning of the decline of the Western Empire?
Absolutely. And we've got an emperor who is built for failure. Donald Trump could have turned this tide around if he would have shut the country down completely for 2 weeks. I've been in the studio with y'all today. But you're dealing with somebody who, one, denied it, who then lowered the standard, and now we're saying, let's go back to work. He is an unfit leader. And so, yes, I think that we're getting ready to see America's demise, and we've got a front row seat to watch it happen.
We're sitting on the front row. But you know what? I think that this is the greatest time in the history of times, especially for Black people, because what I think is happening is that there's an awakening. I think that we're at a place where we're starting to see things differently. Because I think for a long time, we've had our blinders on. We've become dependent and docile. And we've, just like he was talking about how Diddy said, we vote blindly. We vote for Democrats just because they're Democrats, because our mama voted Democrat. So now I think it's an awakening for people. We're starting to see things differently. And I think, it can be at a better time.
Here is the issue. Joe Biden will lose if his only platform is anti-Trump. I don't want to know what you're against. I want to know what you're for. The reality is Trump didn't win the election from all the people who voted for him. He voted from all the people who didn't vote. And so we've got to find a way to really mobilize that base around economic development, around education, around health disparity, all of these salient issues. But we've got to underscore them and help this generation know why it's important and what's at stake.
Right on Obama's wave. I mean, he has to have his own agenda. And I think that's what he's kind of depending on.
Yeah, and I'd like to see more of our youth be a part of the legislative process, right? That's where the real power lies. And so many of us, I remember, Pastor, when I was at Howard, and I looked at cats in political science, I thought to myself, why are you in that particular major? And 30, 40 years later, I'm looking back to say, wow, if there was one thing that I wish I had done a little differently, I would have been more engaged with the political process, because I was like most Americans today that think that it doesn't really matter who's the president. It doesn't affect me directly, right? But that is probably the worst statement you could ever make, because slowly you see the economic inequalities that happen. The rich are still getting richer while the poor are being poor, right? We're so attached to titles, like you said earlier, and we're more inclined to spend money than to invest, you know? And
Yep.
that has been an atrocity that many of us have not faced and still are blind to that reality.
Yeah, agree. So I'm going to ask you this. Oh, so we got some questions on here. Marquita said, "What are your thoughts about Jeff Bezos possibly becoming the first trillionaire by 2026?"
Say it again.
Someone asked, "What are your thoughts about Jeff Bezos possibly becoming the first trillionaire by 2026?"
It is amazing when one individual will amass more wealth than 74 countries.
You ain't got to pay taxes.
Yeah, so it is amazing, and it's dizzying and disheartening, and it goes back to my point about people just looking for wealth over everything else. And the old 80s, 90s hip hop song, cash rules everything around me. And that's where I think we are.
Dollar bill, y'all.
But with that being said, though, I think that this time, and you alluded to it earlier, that if you don't come out of COVID with the business, if you sell
or
cookies,
if
you make candles, something, right. You have truly failed if you don't come out of this with some kind of business, some kind of merchant aspiration to generate money, not only for your household, but for your community. And I think that there needs to be a bigger emphasis on that.
Yeah, that's what we need to be pushing right now. People should be in incubation, trying to figure out what they're going to do differently. Because when we come out of this, it's going to be much different than when we came into this. The traditional way that we did business before is gonna change. It's not gonna be gone. It's gonna change. But Dr. Jamal, Pastor Bishop, Prophet, we want to change some things up because we got some questions. And somebody asked me, whose gospel album you like better, Snoop or Kanye? Whose gospel album do you like better, Snoop or Kanye?
I think Kanye.
Why?
It is a brilliant masterpiece. I think outside of the mentally challenged artist, I think it is an amazing piece of work. It is well produced, well delivered. I think that you could sing it in a church or sing it in a car. I think just all the way encompassing, I think Snoop's is.
Snoop? You said Snoop, you said Kanye.
I say Kanye.
Okay. We were listening.
So listen, Pastor Bryant, I'm going to take it a little messier, right?
All right.
We're going to be an Easter Sunday of 2021, right? Easter Sunday 2021. You with me?
Yeah.
And you have the evening concert, and you have the choice between Pastor John P. Keith,
all right,
or Bishop Hezekiah Walker.
I'm team
Hezekiah on Easter concert.
I'm team Hezekiah all day long. I think John P. Key is great, but I think that Hezekiah got more hits.
Okay.
John
all right.
P. been delivering nothing.
John P. been around longer.
Huh?
John P. been around longer. He got some good.
Hezekiah got more recent hits than John P.
You're right about that.
I don't even know if the millennials even know who John P. Key is.
They don't even know who John P. Key is. You're right about
Absolutely.
that. Wow. All right, Hezekiah or Kirk Franklin?
To perform on Easter Sunday night?
Yes.
Kirk Franklin.
All day.
Kirk, you gonna start.
I think Kirk Franklin is more of a draw than Hezekiah Walker, and I think Kirk gonna give me more bang for the buck. With Kirk Franklin, I get James Brown, I get I get Michael Jackson,
right?
I get pre-scandal R. Kelly. I get it all with Kirk Franklin.
All right, so speaking of R. Kelly,
you gonna take my question?
Go ahead. Go for it.
You know, you know.
All right, so you still stepping in the name of love?
I can't. I'm telling you, I'm wounded. And I'm wounded. Let me give you transparency. I'm wounded as a R. Kelly fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, today you can put a gun to my head and I can do 12 play blindfolded.
That way.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
But to see the impact and the toll of the lives that have been desecrated because of his madness, I'm woefully disappointed, and I really believe that he has some mental, psychological challenges that have to be addressed.
But Pastor, wait, Pastor, hold on. You at a wedding and you ain't tapping your foot to step in the name of love. You ain't gonna tap your foot. You ain't gonna, you're not gonna.
He already said he's spinning with it.
Oh, he said you wasn't gonna do it.
Yes, ma'am.
No. Is there a tablecloth over the table? Can people see me tap my foot?
But you ain't gonna get up and do a 2-step.
No, I can't. No, I can't.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen. Let me take you some. Yes, the pastor be going.
Pastor, I'm sorry. I'm stepping in the name of love. Go ahead.
Listen. So I know you are a fan of popular music. You can't be on the radio and not hear MJ, Michael Jackson, or Prince. Who is or who is not more heavily in the rotation on your iPod? MJ or Prince?
Prince is more on rotation for my iPod.
Yeah, I would say Prince for me too.
What you really?
Yeah, who would you say?
I'm moonwalking all day long.
The first rated movie I ever saw was Purple Rain.
You had to purify yourself in Lake Minnetonka.
Lake Minnetonka.
Lake Minnetonka, yeah. Okay, this one just happened last week. Jill Scott or Erykah Badu?
I'm with Erica.
Erykah, why? What?
I think Erica influenced and informed Jill Scott's sound.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, she is the trailblazer for the incense shaped butter circle. That's all of that is Erica.
But body of work, I would say Jill's is more extensive. Erykah laid the foundation. Jill got more hits.
Let me ask again for clarity. What is your question?
Erykah Badu.
Going with?
Yeah, who you going with?
I'm going with Erica.
All right.
Erica is going to DJ. Erica is going to throw incense around.
But she's going to show up about 2 hours late, though.
Yeah, Erica is going to have some outfit on from Tokyo and a concentration camp. And, Jill Scott, to me, is gifted. She brings the hood to the opera.
I love it. I actually love that.
Concept. Yeah, that's exactly what she
the hood to the opera. Somebody asked, do you still watch The Cosby Show?
I don't.
No?
I didn't know it was still on.
Well, somebody asked that, but would you? I mean, do you have that same thought?
I think it was.
You have that same thought about Bill Cosby as you have about R. Kelly?
I grew up wanting to be Theo. I get it. It was the very first time to show Black people not in a stereotypical way of being accomplished, professional, and balanced. I thought it was a trailblazing breakaway show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally say the same thing. I mean, I love to see the replication or representation, I should say, of our people in such a positive light. And I know that Dr. Cosby was really big on that. So kudos to him for bringing that to mainstream TV, because there's a whole bunch of craziness on TV now where we're watching Empire, where there's all kind of infighting, and then Scandal, the main character of the show.
Hey, that was my show. Leave Scandal alone.
You know what I mean? That was a show. No, but the Cosby was the jam. That was my jam for sure. So listen, Pastor, you are the father to many, and I am a dad to daughters, and we talked about stepping in the name of love. So we got to ask you, put your dad hat on. So is it cool on the first date to kiss, just hold hands? Where you drawing the line?
For my daughter?
Or your daughter? Or daughters in general?
They can give him a hug.
They give him a pound. Look,
When
they give him a pound.
when he walk
Yeah,
through my door, you
right.
can hug.
Yeah. Okay. You better than me because Ryan gives a pound.
And that's if COVID has lifted.
Yeah, right.
We doing a Wakanda if COVID has.
Because the way things are now, I'm gonna have my daughters doing COVID virtual dating.
I know that's right.
That couch on FaceTime, watching the Netflix while he's in his house.
Right. Listen. Okay, I got one last question. I think I may know the answer to this. Would you say that your style is more Malcolm or Martin?
I'm more Martin with Malcolm tendencies.
Oh, okay. So wait, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, break that down,
break
brother.
that down.
We got a small wager going on what you would or would not say. So right now,
Martin,
you teetering in the middle. You teetering in the middle.
Come on.
Yeah, so I went to Morehouse in 1989, so there were no websites. I went to Morehouse completely because of Dr. King.
Okay.
For Black History Month, K through 8th grade, I wanted to be Dr. King in all of the plays. Yeah, I mean, so in the Little Easter program, I was volunteering to do the I Have a Dream speech. But I am really thinking about things as an adult that I didn't in my younger life on how would America respond if we embrace constitutional rights the way they do. Can you imagine Black people storming the State House like they did in Michigan with military grade weapons because we got a right to do it?
Yeah.
I wonder how much faster we would progress on gun laws and gun control. And so I'm thinking about it, and I'm grateful that the nonviolent movement brought us very far. But I think that Albert Einstein was right. To keep doing the same thing and expect different results is insanity. And so I'm not sure how far I would go in that. I wouldn't want America going into a racial civil war, but I think that we've got to evaluate some tactics.
You think about what happened in California with the Black Panthers when they stormed into the State Department with those guns. What happened? No more carrying concealed weapons. We can't do that anymore. So when Black people did it, what ended up happening? Laws ended up changing. So you're absolutely right about the gun control. If that happened on a federal level, on a bigger level, it certainly would change some things. NRA is for everybody to have a right to a gun, except for people who look like you and I. So I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap things up with you, Dr. Jamal, Dr. Bishop, Pastor. We appreciate the time that you have given us today. We have
Thank you for inviting.
Yeah, no, thank you for dropping the knowledge. And, one of the things people want to know is with what's going on with COVID, like what should they be doing with their money right now? What should they be doing with extra money that they have in the bank or the stimulus? What do you suggest?
I think that you ought to save and invest. Don't buy nothing right now because we don't know how long this is going to be or whether this will be the second Great Depression. So I would tell everybody to just sit tight in this moment.
So real quick, Pastor, I know that your name rings bells in so many platforms and in so many areas, but for those who are seeing you for the very first time, please tell all of our listeners who are out there how they can reach out, experience more of your brilliance, your greatness, and partner with you and your house of worship.
Yes, newbirth.org is our website. I ask that you will please visit that. On all social media platforms, you can meet me at Jamal Bryant, Jamal H. Bryant. If it is not verified, it is not me. But if you want to get my attention, my Cash App is Jamal Bryant 71. Find me.
Let's drop the mic right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. You got front row seats to the prolific, the profound, the prophet, Dr. Jamal Bryant. Thank you so much for being on today. We so
Absolutely.
appreciate you.
Absolutely. My name is Robert Angelin, and this is
Constance Carter.
And we believe for every situation,
there is a conversation.
Conversation starters everywhere, y'all.
Peace.
Thank y'all. Have a great